What's happening? This is the Tap In podcast. We are live inside of the Tap In studio. I got a special guest with me, one of my frat brothers, you know what I mean, from KSI, Mr. Carl, aka Yoga with the Sota. What's happening, man?
Hey, what's happening? What's going on, everybody?
Chilling, man, chilling. Man, I appreciate you for coming through. This is one of the unique tap ins, you know what I mean? And I brought you in, one, because I know a lot of people are doing quarantine right now, and I know I'm struggling working out. I'm just at the house eating like crazy. And so I wanted you to come in and kind of just educate me on how I could be working out with yoga, because I can't get to the gym like I would normally. And where do I even start? So let me start here. How did you even get started into yoga? Who introduced you to yoga?
Well, I got started in yoga because I got tired of getting hurt. I was a typical athlete, played high school football. 1 year it was my hip, next year it was my hamstring, next year it was my ankle, and I managed to get out of high school with tearing my ACL. And then I went to junior college, then tore up my shoulder. And I was like, man, just forget this. You know, it's not worth it. You know, I keep getting hurt. So then from there, I finished up college, went on to become a teacher, and I went to this MMA gym, and I was boxing with this guy. You know, I love to do that kind of stuff also. And this guy was like, hey, do you want to fight? And I was like, am I good enough to fight? He was like, yeah, I'm a undefeated fighter, and you did some good stuff with me. So I was like, okay. So I started training to be an MMA fighter. And I was going with a guy he was a UFC fighter, and I was kind of training with him, and something happened to my back. And I didn't know what it was, and I just couldn't walk. And I went to the doctor, got like a MRI. That was negative. Doctor was like, well, maybe you pulled this ligament. And I'm like, maybe? Like, you can't give me no facts?
Yeah.
And a friend of mine was like, well, why don't you do yoga? I heard it fixed stuff. So I tried it, and my back felt great. And I was like, I mean, I'm going to start doing this.
How long ago was that?
It was, let me see, I got my certification in 2011, and it was probably about a year or so before that. So like 2010, 2009.
Oh, wow. Dang. Okay. See, and I always thought yoga was just for like just stretching. You know what I mean? Every time I see people or I hear about yoga or I see yoga, I always see them doing the little downward dog and I forgot, I don't even know what the name of the poses are, but you just, your hands in the air and then that's it. Like, I'll be like, I don't feel like that's going to give me no real workout. You know what I mean? But I always see the dudes who actually are doing it, or the women that are doing it, they be in like tip top shape. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'll be like, what is it? What, like, are there different types of yoga?
Yes, there are definitely different types of yoga. Some are a little bit tougher than others, but that's always like a drawback for people. You know, they'll be like, oh, this is going to be easy. And then when they get in there, it's tough. And then that'd be a reason for them to like drop out, you know. But don't go into yoga thinking it's going to be easy, because even if it's a type of yoga called like yin yoga, where you're doing like simple poses, but you're holding them for a long time. So you got to be mentally focused. You got to breathe, because you're holding them anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. You know, how many of us really like sit still for 3 to 5 minutes in a position that we're not used to? You know?
Yeah.
And there's also hot yoga. That's where I got started in. When I first started, it was like 98 degrees, and there's another kind of yoga where it's like 105 degrees. So it was tough, and I felt like I was about to die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, after seeing what it was doing for my body, I got used to it, kept going, and then you finally get used to it. And then there's kind of like a flowy style where it really works your cardio. So there's many different styles of yoga, but they all incorporate those basic things, those basic poses and breathing and the meditation and those kinds of things that are like quarter yoga.
Okay. And so the hot yoga is just the temperature. You can still be doing the same poses, and just the temperature is the difference?
Yeah, just the temperature is the difference. What happens is that it makes your body what they call like supple. You know what I mean? Like, you're already warm when you get in. Just like if you was running track, coach will tell you, go ahead and get warmed up.
Yeah,
How do I know if
okay.
I'm warm? I'm sweating. Well,
Yeah.
you get up in that room, you sweating 10 seconds after you walk in,
Yeah.
being ready to really like stretch to the max.
Okay. Now, is there any kind of religious thing behind yoga, or is like a religious worship or anything like that?
Well, I get that a lot. People think like if I'm doing yoga, I'm worshiping somebody. Like I'm a Christian. I'm worshiping something else that I don't know about. Well, yoga, when it was originally started, it was it's kind of like a tool. It depends on what your intent is. If it's your intent to worship and put you in a different space, and yoga means union. So it's like it will connect you spiritually if that's what you're looking for. Kind of like a devotional. A devotional, it's not the Bible, but it serves as kind of like a connection, kind of like a bridge for you to understand the Bible and understand God even more.
Okay.
Or then you can look at it as like yoga's, my intention is for it to self-help. Well, it connects your mind to your body in order to kind of help heal and kind of help you with a self-help book. So it all depends on what your intention is when you're doing yoga, whether you look at it as spiritual connection or a mind and body connection or a healing connection.
Okay. All right. And I always see a lot of people doing yoga like outside. Like I feel like it's connected to like nature. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, and that's why I asked is it a religious kind of thing? Because most of the time I see people doing yoga like in the park. I always hear about people doing yoga in the park or stuff like that's the little catchphrase, yoga in the park. We doing yoga in the park here. We doing yoga in the park there. I'm like, y'all don't got no inside building yogas or nothing. Like why is it always outside? But and I wonder why more black people are not into yoga or not doing yoga. Like,
well, I believe that there's just we have a kind of like a mental lock on things. If it's something that we are unfamiliar with. I think us as black people is just like, well, black people don't do that. Or this is for them. This is not for us.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, it was started by ethnically, I can't even say the word right.
Ethnically, we got you.
Minorities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was started by minorities. So it's for the benefit of everyone, so it's not this specific group that does it. And that's another thing when you said you see people doing it, you see women. Well, that's the kind of like the veil that's kind of was like painted on yoga, and we kind of stuck it with that with the media. If you look like at magazines and stuff like that, but it's for men, it's for children, it's for it's for everybody. No matter what your body weight is, no matter what your body composition is. If you're in a pose and your hamstrings are stretching, whether you can touch the floor or barely get down, either way it go, you're working. You know what I mean? And that's yoga. You're getting the benefit.
Do you have to be flexible to do it? Like to do yoga?
And that's another thing. People are like, I'm not that flexible.
Man, cause listen, my knees is on fire right now. Here we go. I haven't sat Indian style since kindergarten. So I'm just saying. Do you have to be flexible though to do it?
No, you don't have to be flexible. There's like a little meme, and I post it every so often, and it's like a Batman and Robin. And Robin is like, I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible. And then Batman is slapping him and saying, that's why you do yoga. If you're not flexible, you need to be the main one in the room.
Oh, okay.
So you can get there.
Okay. Now, so, and this was something that me and my, because every show that I always do, right, I always talk to my wife about the show coming up. And I was like, you know what, when I go in there today, I'm going to challenge him. I'm going to be like, listen, if I don't lose weight in 2 months, she was like, Donte, that's not what yoga is. It's not a lost weight type thing. So explain how would it affect my body if I start doing yoga?
Well, if you start doing yoga, one, you'll become stronger.
Okay.
And when I say stronger, it's not like a thing where if I lift, 205 and I'm doing yoga, I'm going to be able to lift 235.
Yeah.
Not that kind of strength. It's more of like a inner muscular endurance. You're working major muscles like my quads, but I'm also working muscles that are going to support those muscles, hence like the long holds and the body control. You're really working on muscular control. And it's gonna lean you out. You know, if you ever see somebody that lift weights and that's all they do, you know, it look like their arms are short. And a buddy of mine, he called me one day. This is a side note, but it's gonna tie in.
Okay.
He was like, "Man, I need to do some yoga," you know. And then I was like, "Why?" He said, "Man, I was taking a shower and I couldn't even scratch my back no more." So I was like, "Oh, that's all you've been doing is lifting weights." So it really helps, you know, lengthen out your muscles, improve your flexibility, and it's really like an all-encompassing exercise because you'll improve your mind too. You know,
Okay.
you will improve your focus. Most exercises, it's like push, push, push. You play football, push. Even if you hurt, push. Lifting weights, push, push, push. But yoga, it humbles you because it teaches you how to pull back. You know, like if you pulling on this muscle too much and I'm finna force myself into it, you can hurt yourself. So you learn to say, oh, okay, I'm good right here. This is as far as I can go, and this is okay for me. Mm-hmm. You know, so it also helps your mentality. And breathing also. That breathing is a huge aspect. I don't know. I've never been in another sport where they've been like, okay, take a few breaths. You know what I mean? Everything is, I'm shortening my breath. You know, think about how you breathe most of the time. It's the same way. It's shallow. But yoga, it teaches you how to deep breathe. Really gets those exercises your lungs. You know, build that lung capacity. And with COVID-19 being like a respiratory disease, it's really important to build that lung capacity. You know what I mean? Really stretch out your lungs, get to areas that you don't usually. Usually our breaths are short and quick, and we losing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. And then I heard, yoga has something to do with your chakras or something, right?
Yeah. I get that question a lot too. You know, people who are just
what are
yoga.
hold on, before you start, what are exactly are chakras? What are chakras?
Chakras, they are like energy centers, and they the ancient yogis, they kind of visualize them as like a pinwheel. You know, like you blow a pinwheel outside and then it'll spin.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what the chakras look like. There's one at your base, kind of like your pubic bone, your belly, your heart, your mind, and at the crown, at the top of your head, your throat. So they all go down like this center of your body, hitting all those major organs and major parts of your body. And what goes through those chakras are energy. You know, if you'll read people research, and they'll be like energies, or they'll call them nadis. Now that translates to air. You know, think about your lungs, you know, that heart chakra. You want to breathe in, breathe out. You know, that's energy. That's providing fuel for your body. Blood, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's circulating through your body, you know, hormones, different kind of minerals, nutrition, your nerves, you know, and that's what those energies are. And yoga kind of facilitates that kind of free flow of these nutrients or these energies and these signals kind of going through your body, and wants to welcome that and open that up.
Okay. And you get all that just from doing the poses and holding them and stuff like that?
Yes, you get all that from these kind of key components of yoga, which make yoga what it is. The first is doing the poses. You know, doing these certain poses, you're strengthening, you're contracting muscles, you're squeezing muscles, and you're in a certain position that's not normal, and it may be you're twisting, you know, so you're awakening your belly chakra because you're twisting those organs inside, you know, and you're also breathing at the same time. So you're inviting that nutrients, that oxygen into your body, you know. And one of the other components is control. You know, you're holding this pose, learning to control your body in space. Thought control. You know, you're not focusing on what's going on around you. For you to be able to hold this pose, you got to be able to kind of focus on yourself and focus on a point in a balanced position. You know, you're focusing on a point, you know. So it has that aspect. And another aspect is kind of body awareness, you know what I mean? And thought awareness. I'm aware of what I'm doing in this moment. You know, I'm aware of my thoughts in this moment. Because you're holding a pose, you know, for a minute. You know, you get to thinking about what you got to do next week, what you got to do after this, what you got to do before that. But yoga tries to guide your thoughts into, okay, I'm here. What am I feeling now? What am I noticing going on in my body? Do I need to go forward, stretch a little bit more, or do I need to pull back? You know, and that final element is meditation. You know what I mean?
I was just about to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yes, that's a part of that. What makes yoga yoga? You know, trying to de-stress, relax, focus through, you know, meditation as being a part of it.
Okay. Do you think they should like start doing yoga like in schools, like early on, like junior high, high school for like students?
Yeah, I go into classes in schools all the time. Stress is a big killer. You know, we're finding out that more diseases and conditions come from stress, come from our mind, versus any kind of like genetic stuff that we just have going on. You know, we create it in our mind through stress. And what's stress? Your mind just running, not being able to control it, worry, anxiety, and that leads into depression and all of this. And it's hard for adults to cope with that, and it's even harder for children to cope with that because they don't even have a mind to be able to cope with that.
Yeah.
So we teach them these breathing practices and these poses and breathing exercises to kind of help them cope with what's going on, and they're doing that more and more in school. You know, they call it like SEL, social emotional learning, and really teaching students like how to use these things that are, you know, unique to yoga, bringing them in the classroom so that they can learn how to calm themselves down, how to cope. Because at home, a lot of the times they dealing with some stuff that, you know, adults wouldn't be able to deal with.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Because it was a little while ago where I heard where Russell Simmons, like that's all he does. I follow him on Instagram, where he was saying like we need to get more children started into yoga because it helps with meditation, gets their body all the exercise that their body needs. And I was like, I wonder if I was doing this at an earlier age, how easier would it be for me once I get into an adult age that I'm able to get into certain poses and, you know, be able to be aware of my body, you know what I mean? Because especially with kids, when your body is going through all these different changes, and, you know what I mean? I was like, how dope would that be? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely would have benefited you to get started earlier. But the thing about yoga is that, you know, wherever you are, you're fine. You know what I mean? Wherever you are, there's no goal that I'm necessarily trying to reach. What I'm trying to do is kind of have a holistic approach to kind of like healing my body and my mind, you know? Because if you think about it, you know, you'll never be as strong as you were when you were younger.
Right.
You'll never be as fast as you were when you were younger. You can try to keep up, but age is going to come get you.
Right.
But you can always get more flexible. You can always get more loose, more supple.
Yeah, I gotta
get
loose right now. I'm gonna have to sit like we at a picnic, man, because my knees is hurting.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And it takes a while. It took me a while to be able to sit for this long, too. You know what I mean?
I feel like we on a date now. Shit. Like, damn, knees is hurting. All right, damn. Now, would yoga help with my sexual performance, too?
Yes, it will definitely help with your sexual performance. Stamina, learning how to breathe, you know what I mean? Learning how to, if I'm focusing on my breath, you know what I mean? It allows me to focus and last a lot longer than if my mind was racing. You know what I mean? It allows you to be more intent and more focused.
Yeah.
You know, when you're in the act. You know what I mean? And you can hold and control your orgasm. You know what I mean? You can kind of draw it back. You know what I mean? Through certain breathing. You know.
So is that why? And I'm kind of veering off, but is that why? Is that why you're told as a little kid to start doing counting? so you can get your mind off the actual act. You start drifting off like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You start counting backwards to kind of remove your mind and slow your breathing down.
Yes, it that definitely helps.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I'm sold now. I'm gonna get into yoga.
I'm telling you, you can ask my old lady.
I feel like that. You ever see that big Hank? What's that dude? The baseball dude. The commercial, like Nugenics, she'll love it too.
Yeah.
That's what you need to be for yoga.
The natural Nugenics, you know. You ain't got to spend money on them pills.
Yeah, exactly. Now, let me ask you this: is this gonna help with my knees? Because, like, I have chronic knee pain. Not chronic. Let me not say chronic knee pains, but I never had any injuries to my knees at all. I think probably when I was like 35 is when I started noticing me just running, like my knees is just like, it feel like it's bone on bone. You know what I mean? Is yoga going to help me with any kind of like lower body pain at all?
Yes, it'll definitely help with joint pain.
Okay.
If you think about your joints, there's nothing but tendons and ligaments through there. It doesn't get a lot of blood flow, you know.
Okay.
And as we talked about earlier, yoga seeks to increase, you know, the blood flow and through parts of your body that may not, you know, get a lot of it, you know. So, and yoga kind of stretches those tendons and those ligaments, you know, kind of giving them relief and kind of growing that stability of muscles that kind of, you know, support, you know, those areas of your body. I mean, like I said, I tore my ACL, and, you know, I can be in certain yoga poses are tougher for me to get into, more advanced, but because of that, I'm able to, you know, like bend my knee like this and stuff like that, when other people I've known that have had ACL injuries or MCL injuries or stuff like that, because they hadn't worked on that flexibility and that kind of yogic muscular endurance type, they can barely walk or barely bend, or arthritis is beginning to set in and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, yeah, it'll improve it.
Okay. And will I know you said the energies, will yoga help with like digesting food and being able to, because I know like me, I'm from LA, right?
Yeah.
California is nothing but healthy food, healthy. Texas, not so much. Like you eat, I've eaten so much fried food in the last week, especially during quarantine, and I've just be worried about like, damn, am I clogging my arteries with this? Or like I want to make sure like my digestive system is working healthy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't really go to the bathroom. I probably go once a day, but they say you're supposed to go at least 2 to 3 times, right? A day?
I think as far as the doctors are concerned, I think once a day is probably fine. It's probably good,
Okay.
you know. But you can do more things, you know, to make it more frequent. You know, eat more vegetables, more fruit. There's also something in yoga called Ayurvedic. And it is like I said, yoga is like a holistic approach to kind of like self-healing and wellness. And the physical postures is one part of it. The mental part is another part of it. But there's also, you know, putting good things in your body, you know, eating foods that kind of go with your body type and your mental type, you know what I mean? If I am getting to kind of the terms a little bit, like a kapha person.
Kapha, what's that?
It means a person that is kind of like hot-tempered, a person that is hot all the time.
Okay.
Well, Ayurvedic.
Fire.
Yeah, fire, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned that last week.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Ayurvedic would tell you to eat more, you know, cold things, you know, to kind of balance that out, you know what I mean? To kind of balance that hot-tempered or that hot-natured out. So you can kind of explore those things to kind of get, you know, what is good for my kind of body type and in nutrition.
Okay.
And as far as physical things that you can do for digestion, there's certain breathing exercises. It's called like a Uddiyana Bandha. You draw your belly in as much as you can, kind of pushing your stomach, kind of getting food through your intestines, twisting postures. You'll see like yoga for detox, and there's a lot of twisting postures in that because you're twisting your organs out, kind of helping that flow of digestion, releasing blockages and stuff like that in there. So you can do those kind of physical things to also help with digestion.
All right. Now, do you teach classes? Like, how do people get a hold if they want to come to one of Yoga with the Sota classes? How do they get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me on Instagram, Yoga with Sota, at Yoga with Sota. You can DM me.
SOTA, right? Not SODA.
Yeah,
okay.
SOTA. Yeah,
okay.
SOTA, yeah.
Okay.
Yoga with Sota, SOTA. I might need to start saying that together.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can reach me there. You can DM me. Mostly, I do, private classes, one-on-one. I really work with a lot of new people, really educating them on what yoga is and the philosophies and stuff like that, and how to do postures, really getting specific and designing lessons to kind of help out their ailments. You got a hurt knee or hurt shoulder or something like that. I can design classes that will kind of help improve those things. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'll get somebody and they're like, oh, I got this back pain, and then they'll get to doing some of the poses, and then they'll be like, oh, I did this with my doctor, or oh, I did this with my chiropractor. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, you don't have to. You can come here and it's cheaper. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, you can also you can look on my YouTube, Yoga with Sota YouTube. I have a lot of classes on there that if you're just beginning, you can kind of look at and kind of get into. And with the quarantine, I'm not at any studios right now, so you can just message me at any time and I can give you any advice, or Zoom lessons. You DM me, I can give you my Zoom code, and then we can do one-on-one Zoom or group Zoom lessons, whatever you like. That's big now since we're in quarantine. Zoom lessons, so we can do straight Zoom if you want, or I can come out.
Okay. Now, this is another thing, because I always see a bunch of different yoga stuff, right? My wife won this or got this or something long time ago. What exactly is this for? What does this do?
It's for support. It's called a yoga block, and it's to help support you in any poses that you're in. Like if you're in a triangle pose where your hand is touching the ground, like I said before, yoga teaches you how to pull back. So don't try to reach for the ground, you know what I mean? Use a block to kind of help support you, you know what I mean? Understand where you are and say, okay, I need a block. Often in a yoga class, the teacher will say, well, get a block, get a blanket, get this, get that, if you need it, and I encourage people to kind of know where you are and say, okay, this is fine where I am. I need a block to help support. I need a blanket to help support. And so that's basically what that is. It's a yoga tool to help support.
Okay. And the one thing that I like about yoga, just from afar watching it, is you don't need a lot of equipment. You know what I mean? You can, if you at home, especially right now, you can just go right on your living room floor and just start doing the poses, right?
Exactly. You don't need anything. I mean, you don't even need a mat. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can get right on your floor and you can start doing some poses and focusing on your breathing and things like that to help you get a workout, to help you feel a little better, to help you de-stress. I mean, I can't believe what they're finding out specific to yoga and stress, and how it's helping people with depression and coping skills and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So if you're just trying to stress out, you can get a workout, de-stress, get all that, all at the same time, right on the floor of your living room or anywhere. And yoga combines with, I like that union word, which is what, yoga means, that union or that yoke, because yoga can merge with anything. If you lifting weights, when you get through lifting weights, you can drop in a few yoga poses. That's going to help supplement. That's going to help stretch out and kind of heal and work what you just broke down with lifting weights. Running, you just got through running, you know what I mean? You want do a couple of poses that are going to kind of stretch those ligaments and those joints that you've been pounding on by hitting the pavement. So it kind of works with anything. It can be done before or after any workout you got going on. If you're not like, oh, I'm not like a yoga person, I'm a CrossFit person or a weightlifting person. Yeah, you can supplement with this yoga that's gonna kind of heal what you've been breaking down, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get into it, man. I mean, let's show the people. I mean, can you give me like at least 3 or 4 poses that I could start with that, you know, that'll get me through just so I could start, because there's a beginner, middle, and advanced, right?
Yeah.
Show me some beginner poses. Let's see if we can get in. I would take off my socks, but nope.
That's all right. That's all right. All right, we'll get a few poses now.
And I just wanted to say this, man. If we start posing and I pass gas, I want to say I apologize already. I just ate a hot dog. So I just wanted to say,
that's awesome.
I apologize, man. I just want to let you know. We're in a small space, so if we need to, we can open the door, whatever, you know.
That's okay, man. In a yoga class, in a yoga room, that's what a lot of people fear. But as a yoga teacher, you just keep on going because that's life. You know, you might need to get something out of you that was in there. Yeah. This pose helped you. You healing your body.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
They can't get mad at you healing.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. All right. So let me try to get this, and let's get into whatever pose we can start with.
Okay, the first pose is a cat and cow pose. You'll see this everywhere because it's good at stretching your spine.
Okay.
So get into a all fours position and stack your shoulders on top of your wrists like it's all in one straight line. Your hips all over over top of your knees in one straight line. Yep, you're kind of squared off. Good. Your knees about hip width distance. Okay, and this is the easy part. You're going to inhale, and when you inhale, you're going to drop your belly toward the ground, lift your chest and your eye gaze up toward the sky. So inhale, drop your belly down, arch your spine, lift your chest up toward the sky.
Show me what you're talking about.
Inhale, drop your belly like that.
Okay.
And this is that cow pose. This is that cow pose because your belly, you know, the cow has the udders. It's dropping toward the ground. There you go. That's good. And then the next pose, they kind of work together. We're going to do cow pose. And you're going to cat pose. And you're going to kind of round your spine like a scared cat, like this.
And am I breathing out like when I do that?
Yeah, you're going to exhale. It's like a strong exhale. So inhale, exhale. Round your spine like a cat, pushing the ground away, pressing your hips like your hips can meet your elbows. There you go. And then release and get back to that tabletop position. This is tabletop where you're just like this with your spine neutral. Okay. Now here's another stretch right here that's going to help your hip flexors. This, whenever you're sitting down, this is what is always contracted. I mean, think about how much we sit and drive. So this pose really helps out. You're going to take your right leg and you're just going to place it up just like that, okay? Like you're in a low lunge position. And then you're just going to press your hips forward. There you go. And then you're going to stretch your hands up toward the sky. Excellent job. Drawing your belly in, pressing your hips. Do you feel that stretch on your hip flexor right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really stretching. All of that sitting down, it really stretches out and counteract it. Now, as you breathe, you're breathing in and you're breathing out. Breathe in and you breathe out. You want to focus and concentrate on your breathing, and that allows you to go a little bit deeper into the pose as you breathe. And go ahead, bring your body forward, and then switch out. Take that right leg out, bring in the left leg. Press your hips forward. You can take your hands to your hips as you press your hips forward. There you go, and then stretch your hands up toward the sky. Good, drawing your belly in, pressing your hips forward, and make sure you're breathing. It also works on your balance, so try to find a spot to kind of focus on, okay? See that yoga really incorporates a lot is going on. All right, inhale one more time, exhale. Okay, now come back down to that all fours position, that tabletop. Excellent job. And this is a good pose. It's called child's pose. You'll see it a lot. So you're going to take your knees about hip width distance. It really stretches out your spine, bringing your toes together, and then just push back. Like you're going to sit your bottom on your heels and then stretch your hands out. There you go. You should feel a stretch in your spine and your low back right there. Really feels good. This is like decompressing your low back. You know, when you're sitting all the time, even standing up, walking, you kind of compress your spine together. This is really good at stretching it out in like a decompression pose. If you got any kind of back pain, it really helps it out. So take about 3 breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. You don't have to hold your belly in. Allow your belly to pop out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now release, come back up into that tabletop position. And
on that pose, is my belly supposed to be on my thighs?
It doesn't have to. If your knees are really wide, your belly won't be on your thighs. If your knees are together, it'll be on there. That's okay.
Okay, baby. I need to do something about the belly because it still was on my thighs. Okay.
You all right. You all right. It could be on there or not. All right. Now just roll back onto your bottom, stretching your legs out, sitting on your bottom. All right, and here is an easy one I encourage people to do, stretching those hamstrings back there. Now, a lot of the times, if you're newer to yoga, you do that hamstring stretch where you're kind of reaching for your toes. First, get those hamstrings loose by laying on your back so you're not putting too much on your spine. So lay all the way down on your back, stretch out your left leg, take your right leg, take your hands behind your knee, and then go ahead and pull that right leg into your body, and then go ahead and stretch your feet up toward the sky. It doesn't have to be completely straight, just whenever you start to feel that stretch in the back of your legs. You feel that stretch in your hamstrings?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Stay right there. And then you just breathe, inhale, exhale. Now go at your own pace. If you got that flexibility, you can move it up a little bit more if you need. Inhale, exhale. All right, release. Go ahead and drop that leg down, bend your knee, kick it out. Get that other leg, take your hand behind, pull it in toward your body, kick that heel up toward the sky, stretching that hamstring out. Inhale, exhale. Deep inhale. One more time, exhale. All right, release, kicking that leg out. Relax your body down. This is that last pose. It's called Shavasana.
Shavasana.
Yeah, okay. It means corpse pose. So that's a pose you do when you, at the end of yoga practice, when you're ready to go to sleep.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So you basically just laying down. Your palms are up toward the sky, shoulders are back, and you just, your feet are out toward the side, toes are turned, and then you just relaxing and just breathing and just meditating and breathing.
Okay. So can you show me one that I could do for my stomach, for that core?
Your core?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
because that's what I want to focus on.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is you'll see this all the time. It's called boat pose. There's 2 ways to do it. Sitting up on your bottom, trying to find that balance. So you're gonna lift your right leg, lift your left leg, take your hands behind your knees, trying to find that balance. Then you release your hands, and then you kick your legs out, and this is that boat pose. Okay. Now try to make your back as flat as possible. There you go.
Okay.
All right. That really works your core.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now if sitting up is too much, you can always lay down and do it that way.
Okay. And how long are you holding that?
You're holding it from 3 to 5 breaths.
Really?
Yeah, so in yoga, it's not, there are, sometimes you count where you'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but usually 1 count is 1 breath, 1 inhale and exhale.
Okay. Now, is there sets? Because I'm always in the mindset of like how I work out doing weights. Is there sets to it, or is it just hold it for 3 breaths, let go, hold it for 3 breaths? Like, how is it?
Well, if you can do it with sets.
Okay.
You can do it, hold it for 3 breaths, let go, relax down in Shavasana, and then you can get back to it. Or what you can do is you can hold it for 3 breaths, and then you can stretch in the opposite directions, and then you can get back to the next, the same pose.
And you said opposite direction. What you mean?
So let's say I'm doing that pose right there, that boat pose. Now that's all core, working the front of my body, where I can get into another pose called bridge pose that's gonna stretch out what I just got through contracting. Now that bridge pose is easy. It's like this. You're gonna see I'm stretching my whole abs the opposite direction. Pressing my hips up, stretching the opposite direction.
Okay.
So we call those counter poses.
Okay.
So that means you'll do one pose and you'll do another pose to counter that one, to kind of stretch out what you just got through squeezing.
Got you. Okay. And about how long would it take me if I was to do this like on a weekly basis, right? How long would it take me to really feel it or really see it change my body, or at least the joint pain or my flexibility start to change?
You should start seeing it with a consistent practice. You should be able to see it within a few weeks. You know,
Okay.
it just depends on a consistent practice. I mean, there are studies to show that people have had a decrease in stress and depression and all of that stuff with just an average of 12 minutes, a day practicing for
That's
a month.
it?
Yeah.
12 minutes a day?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And see, that's my problem. Just when me asking that question, I thought about, I was like, see, you trying to rush results. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get to be fine already. Like if summer is about to be over, I'm trying to be in shape by the end of it. So that's what I just need to focus on the poses, right?
Yeah.
The poses, and just be consistent doing it every single day.
Yes.
Okay. Now, can you show, and I'm not going to do it with you, but can you show us some more the advanced yoga poses? Like, because I seen on your Instagram when you was doing a handstand, I was like, what kind of yoga is this? Like, what is the game? I was like, oh, shit. Can you kind of show us some of the advanced ones?
Okay, yeah, this is a advanced posture. It is called crow pose.
Crow pose?
Yeah. So
okay.
You're like this on your fingertips. Your fingertips are pressed into the mat. Then you draw your belly in, taking your knees as high as you can up underneath your armpit. You can stretch it out, take your bottom up toward the sky, and as your bottom goes up toward the sky, you can lift off one leg and lift off the other leg.
Oh, shit. Don't fall. Oh, snap. And that's called the crow?
Yeah, it's called a crow pose.
Oh, snap. Okay. Okay. Is that the only one? You got...
Oh, no, I got some other. Let me see.
Give us like two more, and that's it. 2 advanced ones. Because some people might be into yoga that maybe want to try to the advanced yoga poses. So give everybody a little bit of something. You know what I mean?
All right, so here's another advanced one. It is called a final spine twist.
Okay. I feel like these are like gymnastic names. Like you have to go into the final some twist. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so your left leg is underneath your right. Your right is over the top of your left. And this is an easier version where you're just twisting here. It is a more difficult version where you're taking your left hand, grabbing your right knee.
Goodness
and then
gracious.
You're drawing your belly in and you're twisting.
And what is this? What is this doing again?
It's really stretching your spine and your organs in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's also...
I feel like I could do that one.
It's also kind of teaching you how to breathe. When your body's twisted like that, you can't breathe like you normally breathe into your belly. So you're actually kind of training your body to stay calm in an uncomfortable position. You know?
Okay. Hold on, let me see. So, oh shit, I gotta do it this leg. So this,
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, so yeah, that's good right there. You can keep it right there. If you want to take it a little bit further, you can take that left hand and try to grab your knee.
As far
you get, yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good right there. As long as you're feeling it, you're good.
But at some point, I should be able to grab.
Yeah, at some point you should be able to grab that opposite knee, and then at some point you should be able to take this hand and loop it through and then grab the opposite hand.
Wait, what?
Like that.
So go through here.
Yeah.
And then my back, and go through this hand through the back?
Yeah, and grab the opposite hand. If I was warm, I could grab, but without being warm,
Yeah.
I can touch my fingers, but you're just kind of like here. Twisting and being able to touch.
God dang. Okay, last one.
All right,
Last one.
Let's see what else I got. I can take you into a, let me see.
Do something, whatever you comfortable with doing with the space that we got.
So I did I'm not going to do a handstand, but here's one that it's an advanced pose, but it's one that people can, start working on.
Okay.
It is a shoulder stand.
Shoulder stand. God dang. Sheesh. Okay. God dang. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get that shoulder stand. I don't know when. I don't know how long it's gonna take me, but I'm gonna get that shoulder stand, man. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, you can start working on it. Just put your pressure on your shoulders, on your elbows, and then when you're ready to kick up, or you can always use the wall, until you can develop the strength to hold it.
Goodness gracious. But it took you how long? And you said you got certified 2011. Mm-hmm. So you probably started a year before that?
Yeah, I started a year before that, year and a half before that, when I actually hurt my back. And, it helped to really heal it. So I've been doing yoga for, 11, 12 years,
okay.
I think. I can't do the math right now. There's one of them in there.
Yeah, it's like 9, 10.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
So it takes a while. It teaches you patience, teaches you a lot. You got to kind of accept your body to where you are. It's not something you're just going to get right there. Now, some people are naturally flexible.
Yeah.
Well, then if you're naturally flexible, then you might need to work on more strength. So you might need to work on holding your poses a lot longer than just being able to get into a pose.
Okay.
So there's different aspects that you can work on. It's not like a finish line. I got this and I'm done. It's a like I said, it's a holistic practice for overall well-being. So you're gonna look for your overall well-being your entire life. So once you get one thing, you work on another.
Okay.
Or a different aspect of it.
Okay. And I want to get my mom into yoga too, because my mom, she's a little older, right? And like she has she had a hip surgery, so her hips are always bothering her. And I always just be like, Mom, just stretch, like start stretching to get those muscles. But it hurts her so bad to even to stretch, and I want to get her into something where it could at least relieve the pain, you know what I mean? So she can be a little bit more comfortable with just moving around and walking around. Cause I know as we get up in age, I can't run and jump and do the things that I used to do when I was young. So I'm always looking for alternative or something where I can still maintain my health, but also where I'm not putting so much pressure on my knees and my joints and, things like that. So I definitely appreciate this, man. Thank you for coming in, showing my audience. We need to get more black people into doing this. Everybody needs to get on their Russell Simmons and start doing this, their yoga thing, man.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I get this. Leave your information again so people can get a hold of you.
Yes, it's you can DM me on Instagram, Yoga with Sota, SOTA, Yoga with Sota, SOTA. You can also message me on my YouTube, check out a few of my videos. And if you DM me on my Instagram, I'm also on Facebook too. Carl Bright Yoga on Facebook. I got a Facebook page, Carl Bright Yoga. I got a family page too, Carl Minnesota Bright. So you can DM me and message me in any one of those forms, and I'll get back to you. You want to do some Zoom classes, I'll send you my Zoom, since I don't know if we're going to be out of this for a while, so send you my Zoom and we can do private classes or group Zoom classes. Just let me know. Start getting into it. I'm great with beginners, really teaching the yoga philosophies, the yoga lessons, the yoga poses. So yeah, hit me up. It's good to get into. Even if you're doing something else, this is really good to supplement. And no matter where you are, it really helps you. Old, young, it's something that you can get into. It's really, for any and everybody and any and every body type.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, Carl, man. I appreciate you so much. You know what I mean? And I definitely, once I start really getting to it, I definitely want to have you back, you know what I mean? Kind of do like an update on where I'm at and have everybody else tune in to see where I'm at from where I started today versus where I'm going to be then, man. I appreciate you again. Yo, this has been the Tap In Podcast. Check us out every Tuesday on YouTube. I appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. This has been the Tap In Podcast. Holla.